You are listening to the It's Your Time podcast, and I'm your host, Certified Life Coach Michelle Arnold Bourque. In today's episode, I'm discussing our 2024 debrief, lessons learned, and how to turn them into 2025 wins.
Welcome to the It's Your Time podcast, the podcast where busy professionals like you get the practical solutions and support you need to gain control of your schedule so you can strive to be the best in your career, but without the stress and overwhelm. If you're looking to increase your energy and decrease your stress, you are in the right place. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the podcast, friends. Can you even believe that we are wrapping up this year? And friends, it has been a year. I think back to this time last year and planning, looking at 2024, and I love having a word for the year. And my word for the year was strong. I was turning 50. I thought it was going to be my strongest year yet. And what I had in mind and what actually happened were two kind of completely different things. But here's my takeaway. I look back to what I was thinking, and this is why I want to share this with you, because we can make our plans and we can also be willing to pivot as we go. So I look back to what I thought 2024 was going to have in store: strength and turning 50 and traveling. And then what actually happened was I lost my dad. I lost a friend. I had family members in the ER multiple times. I've had family members in ICU. And it wasn't exactly what I expected. And yet, I think it offered me so many amazing opportunities to build my mental strength. So we have to be willing to be open to know that, I really love to believe what is meant for us happens for us, right? Not in a toxic positivity way, but to really be able, and think about this for you, right? There have probably been so many things in your life that have happened that at the time you did not want them or you didn't think they should be happening. And yet, when you reflect back, you look and see like, oh yeah, I can see why that was happening for me at that time. So today we are going to talk about the importance of reflecting back on 2024. And I want to share some tools with you. And then also, I want to encourage you to start taking action today to get clear on how far you have come and what you want to accomplish in the coming year, knowing again that it is okay if we pivot as we go. So I'm going to guide you through a process of reviewing your growth, challenges, and wins, and most importantly, how this work will set you up for success in 2025. So we're going to be talking about mindset, self-belief, having a plan, and the courage to take action, even when you're not ready. And before I get too far in, I have a great tool that I want to make sure you know about, because I have the It's Your Time Priority Playbook that you can go to michelleburkecoaching.com and just click on the Get Started to Begin button, and you can download it for free. It is a step-by-step guide as you head into 2025 where you can review your quarter, your month, and you can plan each day. It really is a great way to get started with being more intentional with your time. Listen, many of us like to say that we're busy, but are you being productive and moving the needle on your life? That is the question. There is a huge difference between busy and productive. Okay, so let's start with the importance of taking the time to reflect. Here's the thing. So many of us are running around day to day, especially this time of year, right? The list of things to do just continues to get longer and longer and longer. And I remember I had a therapist one time. She asked me if I was a human doing or a human being. Let that land, right? It's a pretty good question. A lot of times, the reason that we feel stuck in life or like there has to be more to life than this is because we haven't taken the time to be intentional with recognizing how far we've come, where we are at, and where we want to go. So before we set the new goals, we have to honor where we've been. And reflection allows you to see what worked, what didn't work, and what is possible for the future. Like, what do we want to do next? So these are just 3 foundational questions to ask yourself. What worked? What didn't work? And what will I do next? And this can be looking at it from the perspective of what will I do differently or what will I continue to do? And the order of those questions, it's super important. You have to show your brain what worked to begin. Remember, our brain will often focus on the negative, all of the things that you didn't do. And the work that we do here, the work that I do with my clients, is to train your brain differently if you want different results. So if you're always focused on the next goal, listen, you're missing the lessons that can make your next steps easier and more aligned. You have to look at all of the gains that you've had over the years, or quarter, or week, or day. A great book, and I've mentioned it here before, that talks about this idea of looking at the gap versus the gain, or excuse me, the gain versus the gap, is The Gap and the Gain by Benjamin Hardy. It is really a great, great book, and it talks about the importance of looking at your gains before you're moving on to look at like how far you have to go still. So start with getting those 3 questions down on paper, out of your head, in order to see what is going on. There's something so powerful about putting it out of your head and getting it onto paper, and then you get to become the observer of what's going on. Our brains are not meant for storage, they are meant to process. So once you get it on paper, you can see what is going on in that brain of yours, right? Remember, we have like 70,000 thoughts a day. You for sure cannot possibly know all of them. And that's what happens. We have this like subconscious underlying thought process that goes on. And if we're not aware of what we are actually thinking, then we aren't clear on why we're taking actions and getting the results that we're getting. So, starting with a couple of simple journal prompts is a great way to begin. Okay, next up, I want to talk to you about the importance of mindset. You know, this is my jam. I am all about this. There have been so many changes in my life since I started coaching and truly understanding the power of our mind. And it is why I love working with women who want to make changes in your life. Your mindset will determine how you see every obstacle and every opportunity in 2025. We all have a reticular activating system. It's the filter by which we live and see our life, right? So, for example, when you buy a white car, all of a sudden you start seeing these white cars on the road. They were always there. You just are more in tune with seeing them now. That goes for how you see your life as well. So, if you're telling yourself, I'm too busy, or I'm not ready, or I'll never figure it out, guess what? You are right. But if you shift that story to, I'm figuring it out as I go, you will be amazed at what you can accomplish. And I just used this thought this morning, actually. I was working on some intentional thinking for a 2025 goal that I have. And of course, my brain wants to tell me things like, you have never done it before. But I am intentionally believing I always figure it out. And that feels way more like determination or commitment versus I haven't been able to do it before, which really feels like defeat to me. So think about how each statement feels when you're going through the process for yourself. And guess what? When we're looking at things like, I will figure it out, that feels way more like commitment, like I said, which will lead me to way different actions, and purposely thinking every single day that I will figure it out will give me daily habits that will, guess what? Allow me to figure it out, which means, yes, I will also get different results. So be intentional with your thinking. You guys, you know what? You get to think whatever you freaking want. Many of us go around just living life on default. Be intentional with your life. Question your thoughts that are not helpful. And if you need help with this, send me a message. This is the beauty of having a coach. I can show you how your brain is creating your results. We have so many blind spots in our lives. I still need coaching. We need people who are not in our head. Oh, thank God there aren't too many people in my head to be able to show us what is going on in there and to question and push us to stop really fighting for our limiting beliefs. So often we have thought a thought for so long that it feels like a fact, and then we just keep it on repeat. A coach, what I do with my clients is I help you to see the blind spots so that you can then decide if you want to continue thinking that, and also show you, hey, look over here. This is also possible. It's so much fun. And then you get to decide what changes you want to make most. And I really want to offer you 3 mindset shifts that you can take into 2025. So, number 1, let's start shifting from scarcity to abundance. So, instead of focusing on what's missing, what you're not doing enough of, I want you to recognize your wins and your progress. And when you're able to see more goodness in your life, guess what? You start to see more goodness in your life. Okay, next shift, from perfection to progress. Because friends, done is better than perfect. You can't improve something that doesn't exist. And so often we want to sit around and make something perfect before we put it into the world. This leaves a lot of dreams sitting on hold, folks. So be willing to do B minus work. Take action, learn, and move on. And then the third shift is from fear to faith. Imagine if you put more of your energy into believing versus worrying. I know a lot of times worry seems like so necessary, but it's not. It is wasted energy. I want you to believe in your ability to figure things out, even if you are not ready. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's taking action despite it. And as one of my coaches says, courage feels like shit. You don't always have to feel amazing and motivated and ready in order to start stepping into new goals. Dan Sullivan talks about this. He talks about the idea that you don't have to feel confident to get started, which is where so many of us get it wrong, right? We think that we need to feel confident before we actually start taking action. But what you really need is to feel committed to the goal and then have the courage to start. So think about that. Think about that shifting from thinking that you need to feel confident, it has to be perfect, you need to know what exactly to do. And instead, imagine what opens up if you can feel committed and have the courage, even if it doesn't feel great, to start taking action. Confidence comes as you get going, and you don't have to see it in order to believe it. You have to be able to believe it in advance in order to achieve it. So be willing to take small actions, which will be the habits of your future self, in order to reach those goals. And again, if you grab the amazing planner that I have for you at michelleburkecoaching.com, you can get started with this. I also have some added journal prompts in there if you wanted to get a little crazy and start doing even a little bit more than planning. But let's not get too nutty. I don't want to overwhelm you. It is meant to help you get things in order and feel more in control of your time. It is simply small, consistent steps that will be the key to the compound effect in your life and give you lasting change. Okay, so we started by talking about reviewing. We talked about the importance of belief. And now I want to talk about the importance of planning, because that is what I think is like where the gold is. Because listen, a goal without a plan is just a wish, right? That's what we hear. You have probably heard it yourself. But what I want today is for you to take that to heart. Think about, for example, when you go to a new location, okay, and you're driving, and you stick that address in Waze or Maps or whatever you use. And there are actually, if we think about it, right, a couple of plans, a couple of directions, a couple of routes that will get you there. And you pick one. You don't just hop in the car and start driving around town. You have a plan. So why would you not think the same is important for having a plan in your life, for the most important things that you want to do in your life? And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. It can start with the first route that you think is the quote unquote right one, and you get to change as you go. A lot of times we tell ourselves, I don't know how to do it. Let me fill you in on a secret. You don't have to know the how. You have to start with a guess, get a plan, start taking action. You learn and you move on. Oh, wait a second. Well, that wasn't the way. Let me try this. And be willing to make progress as you go. And be willing to fail as you go. And be willing to give yourself celebratory moments for all of your wins. So prioritize your top 3 goals for the year. Are they financial goals? Maybe a career goal? Maybe a change in a relationship? Maybe one of each, right? You get to decide. But here's what I would say. It is so important to really keep this streamlined. Yes, I know there are a bunch of high achievers listening, and I'm sure there are a bunch of goals that want to be accomplished. But the thing is, if you can get clear on one goal, you will learn the meta skills that will then spill into all areas of your life, because how we do one thing is how we do many things. So if you can get good and clear on even one goal, for example, it will change your life. And I want you to know that there are no right or wrong answers when you're thinking about your goals in life. It's that whisper, right? Your initial response that you get when you're asking yourself these questions. Trust yourself. Okay, next, I want you, when you're planning, you have the goal. Now break each goal into small, manageable actions. So make a list. And the third step, which is probably the most important of all, is now schedule these actions on your calendar. Time blocking works wonders. When you put your brain to work to accomplish a specific task in a specific time frame, you are way more productive than just running around, often getting sidetracked, right? You have the list, and I know we all love that dopamine hit of crossing off the list. I'm with you. I get it. But here's what happens, right? I think about my weekends. I'll start cleaning the bathroom, and then I take a towel downstairs because I have to put it in the laundry. And then I get sidetracked because I notice that there's, like clothes in the dryer. So I really probably should fold them. And then, you know what? I think I'm kind of thirsty. So I probably have to go grab a little thing of water. But then I realize that probably Mark left some dishes in the sink. So I start to take care of those. And since we already threw Mark under the bus, let's keep him as part of this story. Then maybe he's upstairs trying to use the bathroom that I am half in the middle of cleaning, which happened about 30 minutes ago because I got so sidetracked as I took that towel downstairs to, toss in the laundry. You know what I'm talking about. I am not alone here. So schedule the time of what needs to be done in order to move that needle in your life. Be specific. I promise you, you will get way more done every single day. And again, I cannot emphasize enough the importance of just even starting. You don't have to go out and buy a fancy planner. You can just go to michelleburkecoaching.com and download it. And then again, use it as it works best for you. I have times for every single day of the week that you can schedule and insert whatever it is that you want to get done. So again, make the list and then take the things that are on the list and put them in your calendar. And then as you start taking action, you will build momentum. You don't wait for momentum, you create it. Okay. We talked about the importance of reflecting in 2024, the role of mindset, belief in self, having a plan, and taking action even when you're not ready. If you only take one thing away from today's episode, let it be this. You don't have to wait until January 1st to get started. The moment you take action, you are already ahead of the game. So take 10 minutes today to reflect on 2024. Write down your wins, your lessons, and what you are proud of. This will also help you to build momentum. If you're ready to get support with your goals for 2025 on a more personal level, please send me a DM. I love working with women one-on-one who want to make these changes. So shoot me a DM. We can figure out a time to connect and make sure that what we're talking about works for your schedule. And please don't forget, if I could ask a huge favor here, to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who needs it. We need more women knowing how powerful we are in creating the life that you most want. You get to make 2025 your most powerful year yet. Let's share that with all the folks around us so that they can do the same. Trust yourself, take the next step, and remember, it's always your time. Okay, friends, that's what I have for you today. Let's meet back next week, but for now, make it a great day. Take care. Did you know you can take this work to a deeper level with me one-on-one? go to michelleburkecoaching.com and click on Get Started to begin.